I'm going to show you how to solve a polynomial equation graphically. This is homework problem 15 from section 4.4. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so we can take a look at that. And we have a polynomial equation. So if I were to cover up the equal zero sign and just had f of x equals minus 0.7x cubed minus 2.5x squared plus 3.5x plus 3.5 with, f of x equal to that polynomial, that's a function, a polynomial function. But when you have, say, equal to 0, what we're doing is that's an equation and we want to solve it for x. So we want to find the x value that makes the left side function equal to 0. That's what we're looking for. So we're really looking for the zeros of this function on the left. That's what we're doing. And we're going to use our calculator to do that. So here's my calculator, and I'm going to go ahead and enter in this function. You select y equals, and then you're going to enter the function. You have to be careful. There's a negative out front in our function. Don't use the minus sign, use this. This is for negative. So negative 0.7, and then we have x. This is the, to raise it to the power of 3, we select the caret, and then 3, that's going to cube it. And then I want to get back on the main line. So I'm going to do the right arrow. And then I'm going to say minus. Now this time I can use minus because I'm subtracting minus 2.5 x squared plus 3.5x plus 3.5x, and then plus 3.5. Plus 3.5. So let's take a look at the graph. It looks like there are 3 zeros. Notice that the curve crosses the x-axis 3 times, and that means that the degree can, you can have, when you have a degree 3 like we do in this problem, you can have at most 3 x-intercepts, and that's exactly what we have here. So there are going to be 3 values that we're looking. We are looking for x values on the x-axis where the function crosses the x-axis. We're looking for those x values. So we're going to use our trace function. So I'm going to select trace, and I'm going to move my cursor over. And actually, I want to zero in on that. So I'm going to do second trace is going to allow me to find the zero. So if I select 2 here, 0, I'm looking for the zeros. And it's going to ask me for a left bound. So I'm looking right here at this x-intercept. And if you count to the left from the y-axis, it's 1, 2, 3. It looks like it's around 4 or at 4. So I'm going to pick my left bound as minus, I'm sorry, not 4, but minus 4. I'm going to pick the left bound at minus 5. So minus 5. Enter. And now it's asking me for a right bound. So on the other side, I'm going to say the right bound would be minus, let's say minus 3. So minus 3, enter. Now it's asking me to guess. And so I'm just going to say minus 4 since it's between those two. And now it gives me, notice that the y value is 0. So that's what I want. I want my y to be 0 because every point on the x-axis has a y value of 0. And my x value is negative 4.44. And it says in the problem to round to the nearest hundredth. So I'm going to write that down as minus 4.44 as one of our values. Now I'm going to go over, I'm going to select trace again, and I'm going to move to our next 0. And then I'm going to do second calc or second function trace, which is calc. And I'm going to select 2 for 0. And it's asking me again for the left bound. Now I'm just going to say -2 on one side and 0 on the other. So I'm going to enter in this -2, enter, and then 0, enter is my other bound. Now I'm giving x values, right? This is -2 and this is 0. So I'm going to go 0, enter. And then it says guess. I'm just going to say -1. -1 is in between -2 and 0. Enter. So it gives me, again, the y value is 0, and it gives me -0.71. So -0.71. And then finally, I'm going to trace and head over to this next one. And to me, it looks like it's between 1 and 2. So I'm going to select second function trace, which is calc, 2 for 0. And it says left bound. I'm going to say 1 and enter. And then it says right bound. I'm going to say 2, enter. And then a guess would be, let's say 1.5, enter. And again, it gives me y equals 0, and then it gives me an x value of 1.58. So I have my 3 zeros for this function, and I'm going to share my screen and we'll enter those values in. And you're supposed to separate by commas, so I'm doing that. So I have my 3 values that have been rounded, and those are correct. So that is how you do these problems. This is another one. Now, in this particular problem, notice that I don't have a polynomial equal to 0. I have 2 polynomials that have been set equal to each other. So before you even start, you have to get everything over to the left side. And I'm going to subtract 27.6 x squared minus 24.2x. I'm going to subtract that from this side so I get 0, and I'm going to subtract it from this side as well. And then I'll have my equation, and I can proceed using the calculator.